Hello everyone, this is Ricardo Lund and welcome to another episode of our Tips and Tricks show where we show information about our equipment and how we use it to make music. This episode is going to be a little special. We're not going to be reviewing any instruments and how to use them. We're going to be talking about another piece in our studio which is very important. It's actually one of the most important pieces in our studio, which is the patch bay, which is our connections panel, where we keep all the inputs and outputs of our gear, and it allows us to easily manipulate the signals in our studio. So without further ado, let's take a quick look into the patch bay. Alright guys, so here we have the patch bay. This panel right here is the patch bay in our studio, and to a lot of people it might seem a little intimidating, but in reality it's quite simple. It basically holds all the connections in our studio, all the inputs and outputs in our gear. And first of all, I would like to talk about why we have a patch bay in the studio. Well, we have a patch bay in the studio because we operate with a lot of outboard gear, outboard instruments, outboard effects. We have a desk, a console that has a lot of inputs and outputs. So when you get to a point that your studio is running on a lot of outboard gear, I would say it's very convenient to have a patch bay. So like I said, in short terms, what it does, it holds all the inputs and outputs of the gear. Everything is connected into the patch bay, and then you can manipulate the signals from here without the need of going into the back of your gear and connecting everything or unplugging and plugging in stuff every time that you want to use it. So to give you an example right now, I'm gonna be as simple as I can. This top row right here is for the outputs of our instruments in the studio, all the drum machines, the synthesizers, the keyboards that we have here. And this bottom row is used for the inputs of our console, of our SSL XL desk. So we have inputs 1 through 24 in here. Now, each of these outputs are normaled to an input in the console. And what does normaled mean? I'm not going to go into too much detail of what normal, half normal, or not normal is in this episode, but normaled means that I will get signal coming through from an output to an input without the need of a connector, right? So if I go ahead and start something, I'm gonna be running the the Avalon bassline, which is a bassline synth, into channel 1 of the console, and the TR8 drum machine running into channel 3 of the console, which are each of them, the Avalon is corresponding to channel 1 in the console, and the drum machine is corresponding to channel 3 in the console. So without the need of doing any patching, I'll be able to get signal coming through. So if I press play, you can see that we are getting a signal coming in. So let me bring that signal, those levels a little lower. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's better. So yeah, as you can see that channel 1 in the board is receiving signal, and channel 3 in the board is receiving signal. Channel 1 is receiving signal from the synthesizer. Channel 3 is receiving signal from the drum machine. And as you can see, I have no connectors in here. Now, check out what happens when I connect the output of the Avalon bassline with one of these cords. By the way, these are called TT connectors. You have patch bays that use quarter-inch connectors, but I think that TT connectors are much more reliable and they break far less often. So in the studio we use TT connectors and we actually love them. So check out what happens when I connect the output of that bassline to a chord. Suddenly I lose the signal, and now the signal is on the other tip of the chord, you know? So now what this allows me to do is I can, for example, patch this in to channel 3 of the board. So I'm gonna patch it into channel 3. And if I raise the fader of channel 3, now you can see the signal of the album bassline coming in to, I'm sorry, channel 2. So instead of coming to its normal channel, which was 1, now it's coming to 2. Now, this is just to give you a short example of how doing connections can change where the signal is going, where it's directed to. But why would you be doing this? Well, I mean, here we have most of the instruments that we have in the studio, the ones that we use the most. But on this top row right here of the second patch bay that we have here, we have 4 patch bays. As you can see, each of them has 48 points of connection. In this top row, we have alternative synthesizers that we have that are not always connected to the inputs of the board. For example, the SH101 and the Digitone, as well as the individual outputs of the drum machines. So for example, if we wanted to just connect the kick drum to a channel of the console, we could do that through here, because here we have the individual outputs of the drum machines, here for the TR8 and here for the analog rhythm. So that allows us to multi-track drum machines. That's one way that we use it. And the other very important way that we use it is that if we want to create some effects chains. So say we wanted to use some compressors, some EQs, some outboard compressors and some outboard EQs, like these SSL EQs in the board, and you wanted to create some complex chain. Well, that's when you would go into the patch bay and do all the patching right there in combination with the console. So as you can see, what it basically does, it has all the inputs and outputs of our gear, and it allows us to quickly manipulate the signal and send it to wherever we want. So as you can see, not everybody needs a patch bay. You would only be needing a patch bay if you are starting to acquire a lot of outboard effects, a lot of instruments, external outboard instruments, and you want to have them at hand, and you don't want to be plugging and unplugging constantly in the back of your instruments. That's when I really recommend the patch bay, because it makes things much quicker, much cleaner, much organized, and it's a great thing to have in a complex studio like this. So I'm not gonna go too far into it. Perhaps in another episode in the future we're gonna be talking about the modes of the patch bay, what exactly means normaled, half normaled, or not normaled. But in this video I just wanted to make it quick so that you guys can understand what it does and maybe consider if you need a patch bay in your studio. So these are the Switchcraft patch bays that we use here in Rakoon Sound Studios. And yeah, that's all I wanted to cover today. We hope you liked this episode on our patch bay. For this time we wanted to keep it short and simple so that you guys could just get a basic understanding of what patch bays do, why they are used in the studio, and to see if you need a patch bay in your studio. So if you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment down below. And also, if you're located in the Miami area and you are looking for help with music production, DJing, audio recording, mixing, or mastering, we are here to help. So I'm leaving the link to our website down below so that you can reach us out. and ask for our rates or anything related to what we do. This is Ricardo Lund, and I'll see you guys next time.